7 boys, 1 tiny dorm, no money, no radio play, just raw connection, and a dream too big to fail. This is how BTS outsmarted the world's biggest music labels. What's going on? Are Korean music sales collapsing? The internet killed physical album sales. I know why. We're not adapting to the digital age. That's why Western pop is dominating everything. What should we do? Create a new system. Build idol groups from scratch. Something systematic. The real solution, first of all, involved understanding that K-pop didn't just appear overnight. It had roots going back decades. In the 1990s, South Korea was going through massive economic changes. The country was modernizing rapidly, and Korean youth were hungry for their own music identity. They loved Western pop, but they wanted something that was uniquely Korean. Enter a man named Lee Soo-man. In 1995, he founded SM Entertainment with a revolutionary idea. Create pop stars the way Samsung creates electronics. Systematically, efficiently, perfectly. You know what's wrong with the music industry? It's too random. What if we could manufacture success? You can't manufacture talent. Watch me. We'll find kids when they're young, train them for years, teach them singing, dancing, languages, media training, everything. By the time they debut, they'll be perfect. Lee Soo-man created what would become known as the idol training system. Kids as young as 10 or 11 would audition, and if selected, they'd become trainees. They'd live in dorms, train for 12+ hours a day, learn choreography, vocal techniques, foreign languages, and how to be camera ready at all times. It was brutal. Many quit. But those who survived, they became superstars. In 1996, SM Entertainment launched their first major idol group, HOT, High Five of Teenagers. They were an instant sensation in South Korea. Screaming fans, sold-out concerts. But Lee Soo-man wasn't satisfied. This is great, but Korea is a small market. We need to go bigger. You mean like Japan? Japan, China, all of Asia. This is just the beginning. Other companies took notice of SM's success and started copying the model. YG Entertainment was founded in 1996, JYP Entertainment in 1997. These became known as the Big Three of K-pop. Each had their own style, but all used the same basic system. Recruit young, train intensely, debut perfectly. But here's where things get interesting. In 1997, the Asian financial crisis hit South Korea like a truck. The economy collapsed, companies went bankrupt, people lost their jobs. It was a disaster. The economy is destroyed. How will we recover? We need new industries. What if we invested in culture? Culture? Like music and movies? Exactly. If we can't compete with Japan and China in manufacturing, we'll beat them in entertainment. The Korean government launched the Korean Wave initiative, pouring money into cultural exports. They wanted Korean music, TV shows, and movies to conquer Asia. And K-pop companies were ready to take that money and run with it. Throughout the early 2000s, K-pop groups dominated Asian markets. BoA became huge in Japan. TVXQ sold out stadiums. Super Junior, Girls' Generation, and Big Bang became household names across Asia. The system was working. But there was one problem. K-pop couldn't break through in the West. Despite multiple attempts, K-pop couldn't break through in Western markets. American audiences found the whole thing too polished, too manufactured. The language barrier didn't help either. Big Hit was not part of the Big Three. They were small, struggling, and nearly bankrupt. Their founder, Bang Si-hyuk, had worked at JYP, but left to start his own company. He had some success with other artists, but by 2010, he was desperate. He needed a breakthrough, and he had a crazy idea. What if we created an idol group that doesn't feel manufactured? But that's the whole K-pop system. Exactly. What if we threw out the rulebook? No perfect image, no hiding flaws? Let them write their own music. Let them be real. That'll never work. We're broke anyway. What do we have to lose? Bang Si-hyuk started recruiting. He held auditions across South Korea, looking for talented kids who could rap, sing, and dance. In 2010, he found Kim Namjoon, an underground rapper who would become RM, then Kim Seokjin, then Min Yoongi, who had been an underground rapper named Suga, Jung Ho-seok, Park Jimin, Kim Taehyung, and finally, Jeon Jungkook, who was only 15. So what's our concept? You. Just be yourselves. That's it? No elaborate backstory? You'll write music about your real experiences, your struggles, your thoughts about society. That's really different from other idol groups. That's the point. BTS debuted in June 2013. And at first, it was a disaster. The big three companies dominated everything. Radio stations wouldn't play their music. TV shows wouldn't book them. They were from a small company, so nobody took them seriously. BTS performed at tiny venues. They lived in a cramped dorm with one bathroom. They were basically nobodies. Are we going to make it? I don't know, but we have to keep trying. But BTS had something the other groups didn't: social media. While big companies controlled traditional media, nobody controlled Twitter, YouTube, or VLive. And BTS went all in on social media. They posted constantly: behind-the-scenes videos, silly jokes, personal thoughts. They showed fans everything: the good, the bad, the ugly. Should I post this video of me messing up the choreography? Why not? Fans like seeing we're human. The other companies would never allow this. Good thing we're not them. Slowly, BTS started building a fan base, not in Korea initially, but internationally. The fandom called themselves ARMY, Adorable Representative MC for Youth, and they became one of the most powerful forces in pop music. ARMY didn't just listen to BTS, they actively promoted them. They trended hashtags. They streamed songs millions of times. They bought albums in bulk. They organized, strategized, and fought for BTS like a literal army. The fans are organizing streaming parties to get BTS on the Billboard charts. They're doing what? They're teaching each other how to use VPNs to stream from multiple countries. They're creating tutorials. They're working harder than our marketing team. This is insane. By 2015, BTS was still relatively unknown in Korea, but was becoming a cult phenomenon internationally. Their album, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life series, dealt with youth, dreams, and anxiety. The music videos were artistic and meaningful. Everything felt different from typical K-pop. Then, in 2016, they released Wings. The album debuted at number 26 on the Billboard 200. An unprecedented achievement for a K-pop group. The big three took notice. Wait, this nobody from Big Hit is charting in America? How? We've tried for years. They're using social media, and their fans are organized like a military operation? Oh, but it did last. In 2017, BTS attended the Billboard Music Awards and won Top Social Artist, beating Justin Bieber, Selena Gomez, and Ariana Grande. The American music industry was shocked. Who were these guys? So there's this Korean boy band that just beat all the biggest American stars in social media voting? Are they like One Direction? No, they're different. They have a militant fan base called ARMY. That's concerning. That's K-pop. Later that year, BTS performed at the American Music Awards. They appeared on late-night talk shows. They did interviews. And Americans started paying attention. The boys from a small Korean company were becoming global superstars. But here's where the empire really took off. In 2018, BTS released Love Yourself Tear. It debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200. It was unprecedented, impossible, and yet it happened. Later that year, BTS spoke at the United Nations about self-love and mental health. 7 guys from South Korea at the UN, speaking about issues that mattered to young people worldwide. The symbolism was enormous. By 2019, BTS was selling out stadiums worldwide. Wembley Stadium in London, MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. They performed on Saturday Night Live. They collaborated with Halsey, Ed Sheeran, and Steve Aoki. They weren't just K-pop anymore. They were global pop. And the money? Oh boy, the money. In 2020, Big Hit Entertainment went public. The IPO valued the company at $4.1 billion. Bang Si-hyuk, the guy who was nearly bankrupt in 2010, became a billionaire. Each BTS member received shares worth about $8 million each. We did it. We actually did it. Remember when we couldn't afford proper meals? Now we're worth billions. This is surreal. But success came with pressure. The Korean government recognized BTS as major cultural ambassadors. They brought in an estimated $5 billion annually to the Korean economy. They were tourism magnets. The success of BTS opened the floodgates for other K-pop groups. Blackpink became massive, performing at Coachella. TXT Stray Kids, ITZY, aespa, all found international success. The Korean wave wasn't just a wave anymore, it was a tsunami. How did we lose control of K-pop? We didn't lose control. The game changed. Social media democratized everything. You don't need to control traditional media anymore. So what do? What we always do. Adapt or die. The big three started copying big hits strategies. More social media engagement, more authentic content, more fan interaction. The entire industry evolved because of BTS. In 2020, BTS released Dynamite, their first song entirely in English. It debuted at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, another first for K-pop. Then Butter, then Permission to Dance, all #1 hits. They weren't just breaking records, they were rewriting them. By 2021, BTS had become a cultural phenomenon beyond music. They influenced fashion, language, and social movements. Young people worldwide learned Korean to understand their lyrics. Korean language apps saw downloads increase by 200%. Korean BBQ restaurants opened everywhere. K-dramas became mainstream. BTS had accidentally kickstarted a global Korean cultural revolution. But the empire wasn't without controversy. The intense training system that created K-pop stars came under scrutiny. Stories emerged of trainees working 16-hour days, restrictive diets, and mental health struggles. Some former idols spoke about the dark side of the industry. The idol image came with intense pressure. Idols couldn't date publicly, couldn't express political opinions, couldn't show any imperfection. The suicide of several K-pop stars, including Shinee's Jonghyun in 2017 and Sulli in 2019, sparked conversations about the industry's mental health crisis. BTS, to their credit, spoke openly about their own struggles. Suga discussed his depression and anxiety. RM talked about the pressure of success. They became advocates for mental health awareness, partnering with UNICEF on their Love Myself campaign. We're not perfect. We struggle too. And that's okay. If our music helps one person feel less alone, that's worth everything. In 2022, BTS announced they would be taking a break to focus on solo projects and to complete their mandatory military service. ARMY freaked out. The stock price of HYBE, the renamed Big Hit Entertainment, dropped 25% in one day. The company lost $1.7 billion in market value from one announcement. This is a disaster. Relax. They're not disbanding. They're just doing military service like every Korean man must. But the stock will recover. Besides, we have other groups now. HYBE is bigger than just BTS. And he was right. HYBE had acquired other companies and represented multiple successful groups. They'd become a K-pop conglomerate. The company that started in a small office with 7 guys was now a multi-billion-dollar entertainment empire. And there you have it, the BTS empire. 7 guys who went from being nobodies in a cramped dorm to global superstars worth billions. They took a struggling company and turned it into an entertainment conglomerate. Was it perfect? No. The K-pop industry still has serious issues with mental health, overwork, and unrealistic standards. But BTS showed there could be a different way. They proved you could be successful while being real. You could be global while staying true to your roots. We started with nothing but a dream and each other. And somehow that was enough. That wasn't just enough. That was everything. BTS proved that success isn't about where you start, but what you believe in. They turned vulnerability into strength and passion into purpose. And even now, their story isn't over. It's just the beginning of something bigger.